Well, I will call to order. So, my name is Bob Tebow, Superintendent, Wyndham Central, and I will call to order this meeting of the Stratton School Board. This is a reorganizational meeting, and so for this purpose, I am looking for nominations for school board chair.
I nominate Allison Young.
We have a nomination for Allison Young.
Second.
We have a second for Allison Young.
You're welcome.
Hearing no other nominations. There are no other nominations, then, oh, wait, hold on. Devin is waiting.
Since we're nomination.
We will wait for Devin to join. Audio is connecting. Hey, Devin, this is Bob. We have just called the meeting to order. It's a reorg. We have a nomination and a second for Allison to be board chair. Do you have any other additional? Second, third, we'll take it. All right. So all those in favor of Allison being the board chair signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The ayes appear to have it. The ayes have it, and Allison is chair. Turning the meeting back over to you, Chair.
Thank
Woman
you.
Young.
So let's see. Thanks, guys. All right. We opened it at 6:15. The date is 4/10/25. In person is Bob Tebow, Melissa Walker, Joe Frigo, Allison Peterson. Marcucci almost came out on that one. And myself. Online is Devin and Meredith. And I do think, let me see if this is Kelly. If she's trying to get in, she says she'll hop on as soon as she gets it. Well, I sent it. So, okay. So that's fine. So we can move on to the organizational meeting in a minute, but I have a modification to the agenda. Does anyone else? No. Okay. So Meredith, we have a little blip on the radar here. So we have to add, and if we could put it in as number 6, consider signing the special school district meeting warning. That's going to be the modification. Consider signing the special school district meeting warning. So that'll be number 6 for us. So the organizational meeting, here we go. Okay, we did the school board chair. Okay, we need to set a meeting day and time. Typically, we do the first Tuesday of the month at 6:15. Is that like, I would need a motion for that if that's, oh wait, there's Kelly. Okay, Meredith, Kelly DeLeo Laskin is coming in online. Connecting to audio. Okay, so hey, Kelly. So we need to set a meeting time of the first Tuesday of the month at 6:15 p.m. If that's all good, I would need a motion for that.
So moved.
Thank you, Joe. Can I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Melissa. All those in favor, please signify so by saying aye.
Aye, but what was the date?
It's the first Tuesday. It's the same. First Tuesday.
Okay, right on. Perfect.
Aye. Wait, what?
Wait, what am I doing?
Did I assume?
She's now chair.
Yeah, you're now chair. Bob nominated you as chair because you came in last.
Oh, no.
I don't know. She's muted. So, it appears the ayes have it. So motion carried for that. We need to set the Roberts Rules of Order as meeting procedure. So I need a motion for that, please.
So moved.
Thank you, Melissa.
Second.
Thank you, Joe, as a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, Robert's Rules of Order is set as meeting procedure. We need to set a paper of record. Historically, we have done the Brattleboro Reformer. If that's cool, can I please have a nomination or a motion to set the Brattleboro Reformer as the paper of record?
So moved.
Oh, I'm going to give it to Kelly.
Yeah, please give it to Kelly.
Yeah, Kelly. And then we'll give Joe the second on that one then.
Fair enough.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the Brattleboro Reformer is now the paper of record. We need to elect a representative to the WCSU board. That has been me. That one I kind of like. I like that one. So
Okay, nominate Alexi.
thanks,
You
Melissa.
can have it.
Thanks, Melissa. Can I get a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Joe. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Yay for me, I guess. Thanks, guys.
Before we move forward, before we get into the officers here, can I just pause for 1 second? Because I
Mm.
want to make sure we have our board member terms correct.
Mm,
On our SU website, we had 3 of you guys were up for re-election this year. Is that accurate?
no, only me.
No, I was too though.
You were? Oh, I thought it was only me this year. Sorry, do you have all that?
And me too.
Oh, okay. I guess I was wrong. I thought it was just me.
So
This,
do I
but I
have,
was home
But I was
puking.
only up for
So
one, I was only been here for 1 year and I was up for reelection this year.
it's a 1-year term.
that's what I have. Devin and Joe's are both 1 years.
Mhm.
And so those both got restated. through
Oh,
next
yeah,
year.
of course,
And you got
yeah.
a new 3-year, which would bring you to 2028. Is that
Yep.
right? Okay. Gotcha.
Mhm. Sorry. That's right. I forgot you guys both have the 1 years. Okay. So now we have election of a school board vice chair. It has been Kelly. It can be anyone. So it doesn't matter. So I just need a motion to nominate a vice chair, please.
Does Kelly want to continue to be the vice chair?
Yeah, I'll continue
I nominate.
unless someone else wants it.
Nope, you just got nominated. Okay, so Joe nominated, Melissa seconded. Are there any other nominations for vice chair? Hearing none, all those in favor of Kelly being the vice chair, please signify so by saying aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, thank you, Kelly. Another year.
Woo.
Board secretary is Melissa, correct? Yeah, I'm assuming you're good with it. Okay, great. Is there? Can I get a nomination?
Yeah, hopefully.
Can I get a nomination for Melissa then, please, to be school board secretary?
I nominate Melissa Walker, to be
Thank
school
you.
board secretary.
Thank you, Kelly. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you, Joe. Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify.
Aye.
Thank you, Kelly. Anyone?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, Melissa, another year as secretary. We need to appoint a residency coordinator. I don't think this actually gets a vote. I think we just have to like kind of say it.
Does Lorraine still want to do it? Isn't she?
She hasn't said anything about it. I know she's been doing it when they've come in. I don't.
think you just have to appoint her. It's not an elected position.
Right. Wait a minute. I know what it was. We weren't allowed to nominate Peter as our records board. Like we can't nominate Meredith. We have to determine a records keeper, but we do have to appoint Lorraine. So I need a motion to appoint Lorraine Weeks Newell as residency coordinator. I was mixing up my positions. Sorry. I need a motion for that.
So moved.
Thank you, Melissa. Can I have a second?
Second.
Thanks, Joe. Are there any other, I don't think there's anybody else who's up for, would do the residency coordinator who wasn't on the board anyway. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Lorraine is the residency coordinator, determination of a records keeper. We use Meredith, Block out of the WCSU. She does all of our records. So that's just, if you guys are still good with that, getting thumbs up all around here.
And if she wants to still do it, then yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she
Continue.
she can speak for herself, I guess. She is here if she wants to. Meredith, sometimes she just records
It
it.
looks like from my end that she's been muted. So I don't know if
I'm
that's.
here.
Yeah.
Oh,
Sorry.
she's here. I know. Sometimes you record these and then go,
Sorry, I'm at gymnastics, so I'm just trying to quiet.
Are you gonna, you're gonna do records keeper this year? Or you don't know?
Yes. I can. I think.
You'll still do it even if you're on the board?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Great, thank you. And Meredith, appointment of a signatory. I think that's me in the event that, right?
Yeah, so that does like the chair.
Yeah, it's usually, yeah, so we need to appoint the signatory, which is the chair, so I need a
What's
motion.
the signatory?
It's like if something has to be signed in the absence of the board, I can sign for stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
So I need a motion, but also if like that was ever to come up where like something would be coming from the WCSU mid-month, I would get specific permission to sign that document. I wouldn't just
Right.
start signing stuff. So I do need a motion to appoint a signatory, and it would have to be,
So moved.
Yes.
you have to move someone though.
Oh, I move that you be the signatory
Thanks, Kelly.
for the school board.
Okay, Melissa was kind of saying the same thing, so I'll give her the
Sorry.
second on that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Okay, I'm the signatory. Great. I think that's done. Approve the minutes from March 18th. I didn't look at those. Can we hold off? I didn't look at those yet. And I think I sent them to you guys last, but you guys like it when I send them to you like it when I send it to the personal is better. Yeah, let me hold that for next month because I didn't look. Oh, sorry. Hold this till May. Okay. The order is right here. I looked through, it's a smaller order.
Oh my God, nice cleavage shot there, girl.
Oh, you're welcome. There we go. That was just for you.
Thank you.
A meeting and a show. So we got and I did not get any correspondences this month beyond like all the VSBA, like horrible, like I can't open this up and read anymore, but I had nothing specific to us. I don't think so. So then I'll wait until you guys finish signing all that up and then we can turn the meeting over to Allison with some really exciting and interesting news.
I don't know that those are
I
the
don't-
words I would use.
Wrong adjectives, some really
You want me to
dramatic.
Oh, boy.
spin first though with, you would ask me to do some research after your town meeting?
On what?
I mean, yes,
I
you.
remember. I had
Just
Rich-
you.
Oh, yeah. We talked about that. You had
did
already,
last time.
yeah, last time we had already kind of
You
talked
got my
about that
report.
we were just on pause with that.
Can you say- Repeat it again, so we're thinking we don't wanna trouble waters right now. Like, I don't know, I just wanna be as proactive as possible, like,
Yeah.
I don't want us to be
There's-
stuck in a
there's a-
situation
yeah,
where
so
we can't.
What the lawyer said, there's a
do
clear process. You absolutely, it's, nothing has changed in statute as of now. There's no bills passed. The government hasn't signed anything new. So yes, you have the absolute right to go through a process, which includes asking your voters to take a vote. Then it goes to the state and the State Board of Education can make that decision. Excuse me, if your townspeople approve the vote. The question is what will happen when it gets, if you, assuming you pass it, if it
Mhm.
gets to the state, what will they do in the midst of everything right now?
Hang on, just for a point of clarity, we just sort of started talking about this, and it's not on the agenda. And Meredith, just for your purposes, it is us. We are looking into switching from the WCSU over to the BRSU, and it isn't on the agenda, but we can put it under any other business. But sorry, Bob, go
Yeah.
ahead.
So you absolutely can still go through the
Right.
process if you choose to now. We just don't know. And I sent an email. So the lawyer suggested I reach out to the AOE attorney, see what they would say. And I got a very quick response from them, which is very unusual. And her response was, I would love to talk with you more about this. I'm going on vacation. I'll get back to you next week. And that was a month ago. So I've not gotten a reply since, but they've been busy. Granted, they've been
Right.
reviewing a lot of things at the AOE. So if you guys want to direct me back to the AOE, I can push them a little more just to get a sense of like what it looked like. Or if you
Well,
just
the-
want to go ahead with it, you just go ahead with it. And
Well,
see
the
what
process
happens.
isn't that benign though. Like it's not just about going to our voters and asking for it. We then have to go over to the BRSU.
Correct.
And we have to get permission from every single one of those
Yeah, well,
towns.
yes. So, but it is a multi-step process. Yeah.
Mm.
But the first step of it is getting your voters to even prove you exploring it. So
Right.
then the exploration part is the next part. Yeah. So
Yeah.
anyways, I don't know what the outcome would be. What I have heard is that the Senate Ed bill, which had you guys actually on that side of the mountain for the SU that was going to be over there. That map has disappeared, meaning that the Senate Ed has pulled back that and is
Mhm.
starting to think a little bit differently about it.
Well, they've got a whole new act that's up
Well, the
now.
House Ed one that's gone through House Ed and Ways and Means and is now going to the full House this week. It might even been voted on today. I'm not sure. It doesn't draw lines. It asks for there to be a founding of a commission to draw lines. due by the end of this calendar year.
Well,
So it might be premature. You
Right.
could wait until that was drawn and then do it.
It was
Or you
also
could be
more-
Proactive and put the request out there so they know
So
it's
that
out
they
there.
know that we want to be
Right.
on that
Mhm.
side as opposed to.
Right. So the reason that you were on that side in that.
they also, I have
Okay.
also heard that it could be it could be frowned upon if it looks like we're fishing for.
Right. Well, the reason that was happening that way is the head of Senate Ed is a Manchester guy, right? And so his argument was, his thinking was to put a bunch of non-operatings together into one non-operating district. That would be,
Mhm.
I don't know, 3 or 4 or 5 of them in that region. That would all be one district that would all non-operate together. And it'd be part of a bigger SU.
Mhm.
Whereas the other side of the state is going to be an SD, meaning there's one
School
district, one
district.
board, just, so choice, who knows how that gets played out. So, but since that has been withdrawn, that map, I don't know if there's an advantage or disadvantage at this point, to be honest with you.
Well, and
I
the thing
just
that
didn't want
just
you guys to
came
stop
out,
it on
Right.
anything I was saying, or I just wanted, if you know,
Right.
you can go proceed with it.
But how would we be fishing if all of our kids go to that district anyway?
it,
Like all of
I,
our kids are.
that was just something-
Right.
someone said to me that it feels like you just need to be careful that it doesn't look like you're shopping around for the best deal because that won't be looked favorably upon. I didn't understand why that was, but there are people who are far deeper into this than I am.
If we made our case and like, it's just where our kids go.
Yeah,
Like, that's
makes
really what
sense.
it is.
Yeah.
All except for 3 kids are over there.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
we're just advocating for our kids because if they do send us into
The other
Wyndham
side.
right now, then all of our kids are pulled from schools that they are significantly they're in. And
Well, that wasn't like part of it. The kids that are there would be grandfathered in. Like they're not going to
Okay.
get. Yeah, they're not. I can't imagine they'd be ripped. They
I mean,
would-
I don't.
The reality is,
Yeah.
from what the bills are to getting it through joint, House and Senate, and the governor to agree to sign it, because there's no override anymore. Like, what we see now could be really different by the time it gets passed and signed by the
Right.
governor. And honestly, after hearing all this stuff about it, I think something is going to happen.
Mm,
Like, everyone kind of keeps saying that something's going to happen. The question is, what will it be and what will the timeline be? It might be a multi-year thing. It might not be as quick as the governor had originally wanted it. So,
yeah, and if the concern is too, like the BRSU, if it happens the way it was originally suggested, or even a hint of that, the BRSU as it stands isn't going to exist. So we would end up
Right, it's a
spending
much bigger-
thousands of dollars.
right. But if you're in
To-
it and they're merging that with others.
But they were in the original thing that they were talking about, which it's all being
the
thrown
5
around.
districts.
They're just, well, no, not just the 5 districts. But they were talking about they're just erasing the lines.
Correct.
And now the thing that got passed with the Ways and Means. I did not read. I only read the summaries, but it looks like they're
There's
going to
no
do it
lines, There's no map.
right.
Yeah.
So we would literally be paying thousands of dollars in legal fees and going through this huge year-long process to join
Yeah.
a district that would no longer exist.
Let me say this.
That's the only thing I'm afraid
For
of.
me to pursue a line of questioning with the AOE doesn't cost you anything.
Great. Follow
And
up.
that's what your attorney advised me to do.
Mhm.
Is I could just push back on them and try to get a response to what they actually say at this point. If their response is like, just wait, or if their response is, we're not looking at anything right now, then then you just kind of wait and see what happens. If they say, yeah, do what you want to do, it may help us inform things later, then that you have that information. It's not going to cost you more.
Right.
The step after that.
The step
might
after
cost you
that
more,
will-
But it won't cost you more to find out what the AOE thinks.
Right. No, I think we should definitely, we asked the
Okay,
question
I will-
originally. So yeah,
I'll
that's
push back
good.
on the AOE attorney and see what I can find.
And I definitely want to yeah, because it's really, yeah, the new act that they were talking about though, that just came out, it's definitely done more like mindfully. They want to actually hire experts to look at the fact that there's one road here. They want to look at topography. They want to look like they're actually going to examine it and not just like this goes here like the original one was. And then the secondary one was just like a little bit.
Senate's.
This is the
House.
four,
House.
423,
454.
I don't do numbers. It starts with a
454, yeah.
4 and it's 3 numbers.
Yeah.
So,
Which
yeah.
is the one that upholds school choice.
Nope, this is a new act that's coming out that's sort of it's like a response to the governor's or like the governor's plan
Okay.
of like, they still want to consolidate
Yeah,
because that's like the plan, but it's done differently where they're demanding experts come in and actually look at the geography and look at the population and look at, because if they would just close all the schools in the area over here, and where would that send those kids to school? You'd have kindergartners on the bus
It
for an
it
hour.
does have class size minimums. It
Yeah.
does have,
yeah.
does
is
have
scary.
the foundation formula, funding change. but different than what the governor's was, a little bit more generous.
Class size minimums though, even if they did, like, that's why it's good that experts are coming in, because combined,
Well, and I keep hearing, well, there's exceptions if you're very
Yeah.
rural,
Right.
or there's exceptions if multi-age
Right.
schools like Wardsboro.
Down in this part of the state. but
Right.
Right.
it's different.
Correct.
Yeah.
And the numbers are like, 12 for kindergarten, 15 for K-4, and then 18,
I'm pretty sure.
18 for
Yeah.
6 and up, maybe
It-
5 and up.
Like,
Yeah.
what? You wouldn't have 18 if you combined our current my son's in Wardsboro with
Right. But
Dover.
multi-age is okay. They sort of exclude that. If you're doing multi-age out of necessity, then
We
they
just have
kind
to
of give
put
you a
them all in the
pass.
same.
Yeah, but that's like hours, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you combine it, you ask kids from Jamaica to go to Dover school, like, you know what I mean? Or something
Yeah.
along those lines.
Well, they
It's
at one point they were
crazy.
just talking about no more than X minutes on the bus for this, that, and the other thing. And so that was part of it too.
Yeah. What are you
But-
gonna do with the kids that live over by the mountain?
But-
They ain't near
Yeah,
any
but there's
big
no
mountain
closing
school.
of schools was part of the bill.
Right.
I think that could come later with when people see the funding and how it changes things, or the minimum class size stuff, but the bill itself doesn't call for anything.
And what was this bill? What number is
I
it?
think it's H 454.
Again, this stuff is coming out of the VSBA. It's really good. If you're not, are you getting the,
I am, but I get an email from them every day. Like I don't
Every
have enough
day,
time to read
every
all
The
that.
day.
legislative session is like that, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
go in there and like read and like the numbers mess me up. I'm like, just say normal English, people. Like, it's hard to read. It's a lot.
Okay.
I would
like,
also say some of the
okay.
stuff from the VS.
BA.
is pretty,
Yeah.
not friendly to ours.
Oh.
To our students, I feel like in this
Oh.
area.
oh, like what they advocate for?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's interesting, some of the stuff that comes
So,
out of
like, I
there,
feel like
but it's definitely
also-
informative.
I'm sure, yeah, some of the analysis of the different acts and bills,
Yeah.
but, I'm not sure that they fully understand the scope of our schools in this more rural
I,
area.
I don't think anyone
Yeah,
does.
there's literally 10 actions. They log actions for each bill, 10 actions just today on this bill.
On this House 454.
Yeah, so there's some like amendments being withdrawn. I don't know what all of it is. I'd have to look, but
And this is like also one of those
And
things that like,
Are you looking on like the,
this is the legislative.
Oh,
You can search by bill
yeah.
and it shows you who sponsored the
Gotcha.
bill, then you can track where it is, and you can
It's
actually click on it to see
awesome.
what the actual bill is.
like this stuff, there are so many bills and like none of them come to fruition. And even when they do, it's like this stuff, it's so changed by the way.
Let's
by
say
the
you have to,
time I-
it's politics. You have to negotiate
Yeah.
with the Senate, who
Right.
wanted something very different. And then you got to work it through Ways and Means so the money works. And then on top of all that, then the governor has to actually sign it. Like,
Yeah.
it's just so much give and take. And because the
Yeah.
supermajority no longer exists, they can't override the governor's veto.
Mhm.
It's like it's forcing them to have to collaborate more.
which is great for us in a respect.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's good
Scary.
for democracy, I
It's good
guess,
for
but it's
democracy,
good for
yes.
democracy, but it does mean that it might not, it's gonna be a bastardized version of what either side wants. It's gonna be
Mhm.
something in the middle,
Right.
that maybe nobody wants. I don't know.
And I like,
That's how it
I'm
works.
probably gonna stick I should probably like knock on wood or something, but literally every year, there's gonna be something where something's gonna happen. We're gonna lose school choice, right? It's so every year for as long as I've followed this stuff.
So,
Oh,
yeah.
it's coming this year. And it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, okay.
So we'll see. I mean, the governor says he's not letting them out of session until they've come up with something. And Emily Long, who's on the West River board and the SU board, who's, in House Ed and lives in Newfane, and her response to me is basically like, something will happen this year. Like she said.
Laura
they'll-
said that too.
Yeah, something's gonna change. We just don't know what.
Yeah, but what?
I mean, the funding needs, the formula definitely, like that needs to change. It doesn't
Yeah.
seem right,
Well,
so
They're
that's
exploring,
the-
this one thing actually could help you guys quite a bit is they're looking at how there's the homestead and non-homestead.
Yeah.
So they're
gonna
talking
get
about
rid of it,
four
right?
different
Okay.
tax variations. So you have homestead, non-homestead business, really,
Mm-hmm.
non-homestead, second home / long-term rentals. And then you have non-homestead homestead, or whatever you call it, like rentals,
Which is-
like actual
which is
rentals,
good
people live,
because-
Right.
Yeah. The
So
people that
tax
rent are
those-
not being taxed
Right, so
accordingly.
divide those all different, jack up the second home tax rates, and you could generate some more revenue, which would bring down everybody else's
Mhm.
potentially,
Yeah.
or at least generate more money. So whatever,
Right.
they'll figure, but that's something that will probably take a couple of years to get through because it's
Yeah.
apparently kind of complicated. I don't understand tax law, but
Right.
yeah, Allison, you're all over this, right?
Yep, I love it.
They started with 9 and they got down to 4. That's what
Yeah,
I've heard
It
recently.
is
So,
interesting. I don't know, the last few years, the non-homeschool rate has come higher with you than.
interesting.
Always those people that call and.
Wanna
How it is in a
help.
lot of states,
Mhm.
but it's not true in every town.
But
Do you
I
want me
mean,
to just give this to you? Put this
basically
in the
all I can
process.
say is the state sets the rate and it's adjusted by our CLA, like we have no control. 93% of your tax bill goes right to the state of Vermont. That's what it is, so.
Cool. Sweet.
I am following it closely.
Awesome.
I do try to send out updates as much as I can, so.
Yeah, definitely following up with the AOE, because I agree. I think we want to be in front of it,
Yeah,
but there's nothing to be in front of.
still, I think,
Right.
follow up with the AOE and then we go.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
no, for sure. We already started that process. Anyway, we would definitely want to, we don't want to drop that.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? See how our vacation was.
Yeah, right. Hopefully vacation is great.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. We have to do the number 6. Wait, no, approve order correspondences. We jumped to any other business that can legally go before the board. So we will go back to number 6 of consider signing special school district meeting warning.
Okay, so I guess I would like to start by saying I apologize for not catching this sooner, but I'm glad that I caught it when I did.
I don't know that it was yours to catch. I feel like we all missed it, and I'm sorry about that.
Well, it is what it is, but back in January, when you guys approved the budget, we had determined that you would like to utilize like $288,000 of fund balance to buy down the tax rate. So at town meeting, we presented a budget and a tax rate, assuming that we would in fact utilize the $288,000 of fund balance, but we never actually got authorization from the voters to do that.
Gotcha.
So I believe what needs to happen, and maybe Bob has more information, is that we're gonna need to warn another special school district meeting, which would happen likely sometime mid-May, and get authorization to utilize an additional 238,000, because they did authorize 50,000, but that has been on the warning for years as kind of a safeguard in case the state changed the yield after you guys got a budget approved, and that gave us some leeway to buy the tax rate back down. But given the fact that we haven't used the reserve fund in several years, I guess probably it slipped all of our minds. So that's where we are. I think that's what needs to happen. Bob,
I
I don't
believe
know.
that's correct. Yeah, Marlboro had a similar situation happen, but they had a motion at one point that created the reserve fund that allowed them to use it to pay down annually. So their language was different, I think, unless you could find the initial language for that going back.
I know that like on the town side of things, we just get voter approval for the selectmen to use available fund balance to offset the tax rate. There's no dollar amount given, so I
Right.
don't know if we can make a blanket
Well-
statement.
Well,
and
that's
not-
so what the attorney said is when they look back at the original article that Marlboro had passed a number of years ago, it said for the purposes of paying down the tax rate.
Okay,
And so that the attorney believed that left flexibility, and the auditors we also checked with, because that was an important element of this, also said, yeah, if you have that language in your original warning that created the fund, you don't have to name an amount, you're good to utilize whatever you choose at that time. So we just didn't know what the language of your original article that created the fund was.
I don't
And I don't know how long you've had it,
I
my-
look back at that as well. I know that it was just a few years ago that Lori suggested we even put
Yeah,
this
great.
article on to allow us
Right.
to use
Well,
50,000.
and Marlboro's wasn't that long ago either, so maybe it has the same language, might be worth looking at, but the other piece I was gonna say is I would absolutely ask your auditors, because you guys use different auditors than the other districts use.
Okay,
They had said that was fine, but you should check with your own auditors on that and just confirm, and if that's okay, you might not need the special meeting.
I don't know.
But-
I kind of want a special
But I
meeting
mean,
for
the
that.
It's more transparency for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like voters
Yep.
need to know what we're doing, why we're doing it, and that we're gonna use $235,000 more than we told them we were going
I
to.
mean, and that was definitely the discussion that was had at town meeting, and it's in the meeting minutes that was the plan. I think the assumption was that this $50,000 was in addition to the 288,000 if the
Oh.
yield changed. So
Okay.
there was definitely a consensus that that was the plan and everybody was on board with that, but
But it
the
wasn't
fact of the
clean.
matter is
Voted on
that we
it.
only had a vote to use 50,000, not 288,000.
Okay, yeah, it's not clean. Yeah, I would much like, I don't know how you guys feel about it, but if we have a choice, I would much rather have a district meeting.
So, well, ideally, what I would like to do is have you guys sign a warning to send me tonight so that I can get it posted and we can get this done with, because it's driving me a little crazy.
Here's a question, back into like the supervisor, but could we preemptively talk to our town then about what their vote is switching supervisory unions and sort of being like, so this is kind of what we're thinking, we're not sure what we're doing, we're waiting to see what balls drop. Do you want to switch or do you not want to switch, and have that vote there and just have that sort of vote in our back pocket?
Like a
They say-
straw vote kind of a thing?
Yeah, so
like-
whatever, say like if the town folk want us to try to go to the BRSU, if we find it's feasible and worth it to try now, then we already have the vote and we don't have to call another meeting to bring them.
I mean, you could, I would I would have Allison or I email Pietro to get the language for that
Of
article.
course.
Which means if you're moving something tonight, you'd want to be able to do it all at once, probably.
The other question that I had, which was what Heidi brought up, so we had the expenditure budget and that's not changing, but the per pupil amounts in that article were based on the fact that we were using $288,000 of reserves. So she didn't know if we had to rewarn
I
that.
don't think so, because you
We're
already,
not changing the
you-
expense.
We're
the
not
actual
changing the
cost per
expense,
pupil
yeah.
isn't changing. You're just basically asking. You're buying a car with money your parents gave you, you just ask them, you just forgot to ask them for money. The price of the car
Right.
hasn't changed, you
Okay,
just never asked your parents for the money. That's how I would think of it.
And so we're already
Yeah.
asking for it when we ask for it.
so the
Yeah.
wordage that I was thinking for the article, and tell me if you think this is appropriate. Shall the voters of the Stratton School District authorize the school board to withdraw $238,000 from the reserve fund to offset the homestead tax rate? This amount is in addition to the $50,000 that was approved by the school district as Article 9 at the March 4th, 2025 annual school district meeting. So I think that would cover the basis and
Super clear.
allow you
Yeah.
to utilize the full 288,000.
Do we need to say anything in there about it, or like, well, I suppose it could be part of the discussion that this was already discussed. Y'all already approved this. We just didn't have it warned correctly.
Correct.
Okay, we
I
don't,
think-
yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be part of the discussion.
Okay.
Whether or not we add another article, I don't know what the verbiage would be for
Sure.
another
Yeah, I
article,
think you can
so.
only.
I-
get that from
I-
Pietro, probably.
I also think that might, because we have to have this, and this is just my opinion, you know,
Mhm.
I think that is, I do think it's premature because I want to be transparent, but not alarmist with people. You know what I mean? I want to, because we also need to figure out what other benefits or like what positives and negatives there are, what we're getting from the WCSU versus going to the BRSU. If it's just a matter of protecting where the kids go to school, we already have, we are already a sending district for when we're in the WCSU. And so
Under
what,
current legislation. yeah.
right, under current legislation. So, but like, what does it look like? What are their expenses over there? Are our expenses going to go up? Is it going to change our budget? Like there's a lot of research that needs to go into what the pros and cons would be of switching. It can't just be based on schools. We have to have a full picture yet. And so to go, I think it's premature to go to the voters and say, hey, based on school choice, do you want to go over here? I think that's a bigger discussion than just that.
I don't necessarily disagree. What I will tell you is
Oh,
that
my knee.
Wyndham last year had an article of their town meeting that their chair put on the agenda that asked the townspeople to approve the board to explore, to create a study committee or something to do that work with the idea of bringing the answers back for a later vote at that time. But it set the
Right.
tone that we're exploring this and authorized, and I don't even know if we need a town vote to explore it. But they did not
Right.
get defeated. They wanted to also leave for different reasons than you guys. But,
Right.
that was defeated at their town meeting.
Okay.
They were talking about like exploratory.
If
committee.
we
Yeah.
add a second article to transact any other business that may legally come before the board, that would, I would think, give you at least the ability
Okay.
to discuss it, but not necessarily have a vote on it and just get a consensus of
Yeah.
what people are feeling, but it
Well,
would.
Yeah.
And what's
you
your
could do
attendance
that.
likely to be for a special meeting for one article on something like this?
They're usually
Well,
pretty
I
good.
think
It's usually all the
what's gonna happen
parents
is
show up.
We're gonna get a lot of phone calls here saying, why is this happening? And once we explain it, it's probably gonna be like 2 people that show up.
Well, I can also send an email
If we
too.
Talk about the exploration.
Yeah, that'll
of
probably get a lot of
that
parents.
Probably get more people.
So should I put an article other than to transact any other business? Do you want specific to explore? I don't know how you wanna word it. but-
I mean, I think in the nature of like what, everything that's going on, if that is the direction that, we're going with the meeting, I think it would be good to be explicit in regards to like what we intend to discuss to galvanize potential support or lack thereof, and really get an understanding of what the townspeople want to do when it comes to, yeah, because I think, to your point, there would have to be quite a bit of research as far as like, it's not just about what high school do the kids go to, right? It's
Mhm.
about, it's deeper than that. So, I mean, I think it's at this point in, with everything that's happening in education, it's reasonable to have a real discussion with the townspeople about the direction that they would like to go. So I personally would like to see the second amendment or whatever it is,
The second article?
second article
Yep.
be more explicit in regards to like what we intend to talk about, whether that's, I don't think it has to say like, come tonight to vote whether you wanna, move or not, but
Right.
like, it could be like,
Like
Mm.
determining the feasibility of an exploratory committee.
yeah.
Maybe some townspeople want to be on that committee so that they could help us with the workload, whatever it might be.
Mhm.
I don't know if you guys want to weigh in there in TV land. I don't know if Devin or Kelly, you have anything to say about that?
I think it's just like you guys were saying, just to reiterate, I think it's just good to be as transparent as we can with the people of our town and why we're
Yeah.
trying to do what we want to do. To take care, and we just want to continue to take care of our kids and make sure our kids have the ability to continue going where they've been going. I think that's kind of the gist of it, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I agree.
Who did Bob who ended up like, did they have an idea of who was gonna do that research and put that report together? If-
I mean, it's a
They
very
hired their own
different situation.
attorney. They
Yeah,
hired-
Yeah, it's a very different
I kinda
situation,
know a little
very
bit about it,
tenuous.
yeah.
But I believe that they were gonna do it themselves.
Uh-huh.
Was the idea with their attorney.
Uh-huh.
So I guess I didn't realize there was a bigger, like, I didn't realize, like, you get fees for advisory union.
So all special education is kind of your big one. All of those students who receive special education services all get billed through the SU. And so any Stratton students who get special ed services in any of their placements, all that money comes from us and you guys get assessed that
In
amount.
fact, I think the quarterly invoice was on that.
Was that what it was for?
Yeah, so we paid 4 quarterly invoices to WCSU for their
For-
assessments.
The other thing to consider is the fact that when we go to the WCSU, it's us, Marlboro, West River, which is just, Newfane and Jamaica and Brookline and Townsend. And there's Wyndham is in there. And then Dover Wardsboro. That we have a voice when we go there. If we were to go to the BRSU, that may not be the case at all. Because it's a much bigger district or much bigger SU than, so we would be giving up, so those are just all the things to consider. And I'm not saying we shouldn't do that. But, and again, my concern is that it's just premature because we don't know how the legislation is because they did this once before and we went over there and we asked and we started inquiring, we did all that, and then we backed off. And now we're going to do it again and we don't know what the legislation is going to say. And so I'm just, I just want to be
Yeah.
It's a
very
little cart before the horse.
It just feels a little bit that way because I would really love to see what happens with the end of the session and how it shakes out with, because as of right now, it's gone from like 5 school districts to like none of that being the case. And it's literally from this to this. I just want to be,
Yeah,
I want to work with intent and with purpose and with a final goal,
If-
not just
And I would say if this bill goes through as is written or something close to as it's written, and there is this commission created by the bill to explore the line drawing,
Mhm,
and that will happen from, June through December.
mhm.
There's plenty of opportunity in that window for you guys to also do a vote at that point.
Mhm.
Maybe not to make it a done deal like right away, but so that at least that commission would have the information that, oh yeah, by the way, don't forget Stratton, they've asked for this. And their people want this.
Right. The
You know
other
what I mean?
thing
That
I
would
wanna-
help inform their line drawing and when they do it, if that's how it goes as
The other
well.
thing I want to be careful of too is I don't want people to think that we are guaranteeing BBA or guaranteeing, whatever.
Guaranteeing
And then
anything.
exactly by going to the BRSU,
Yeah.
we could literally be spending thousands of dollars to go to the BRSU and still not get what we're like. Us going over there does not translate to us keeping
No, I
BBA.
don't think anybody feel like, oh, so by switching supervisors is that we are
Right.
truly held to getting to BBA.
Well, that's
That's
our
what
whole
we're talking
point
about,
is that
right.
like we want to do this because we want to give
We
us the
wanna
best
maintain choice.
the best fighting chance to keep BBA and other things like that. But that's not guaranteed by going to the BRC. And I don't want to be misleading with that either. That's why I just feel like it's premature because we don't know what the legislation is going to say.
mhm.
And it's going to cost us a lot of money to research this and to get over there. There's going to be lawyers involved. And I'm just, I can be, like you can do what I'm just one voice here, but I want to be careful not to get people's hopes up and have them thinking one way and have it not shake out that way. It just feels cart before the horse-ish.
I mean, I think being transparent and just saying all of that too, just being like, we just feeling things out. If the-
Spitballing.
like, if this is what the town wants, there's no guarantee that this is even gonna bring us what we want, but just exactly what you said, like, I think our townspeople, a lot of them feel very strongly about where the kids are currently attending school and that I think they'd be happy to see that we're trying to support that and not sure if we're gonna be able to, but at least
Mhm.
we're working towards it and.
Because it would be, I think I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
In the sense that like. There's little to no point, right, to like really engage in it from like a financial, research driven, law-based approach, right?
Mhm.
That's like totally cart before the horse, like, we have no idea what could happen at the legislature as far as like how those lines will be drawn or if BBA remains an option. I mean, there's so much possibility right now.
Mhm.
So then I have to ask them, what do you want?
So I agree with Melissa in the sense that by just putting this, if we're gonna hold this special meeting,
Mhm.
to at least give the townspeople, I think people want to have their voice heard right now amongst all of this chaos. And to be able to say like, hey, like, if you had the opportunity, right, would you want to try to us to secure these schools as an option?
We'll try to, because we.
Or-
don't know.
We already know, I mean, I think we already know that.
What?
Well, we already know that people want to maintain choice and that they want BBA and that they want as much choice as they can have.
Okay.
So I guess, okay, so we have the vote, right? And we ask them, do you guys want to do this? Would you want us to explore going into the BRSU? Because we think that there is a possibility that if we're at the BRSU, we have a better chance of keeping BBA as a school. So what do you want from that? What's going to happen now? So you've gone to the town, you've said that. What happens? Like, what are you asking for?
Well, I think it's more of not asking, but sort of just informing me, like, if this is what we need to do, then there's steps we need to take, right? We
Mhm.
need to. If we find that this is the way to go, where we not want to try to switch, then we need to do the research to look at what the price, it's not just the school, it's about the pricing, what the supervisor and union charges us compared to what we're being charged now.
Mhm.
And just sort of like opening that, so if we decide that is the route we want to go, then they are aware of our options, that it's not just school, but that it's other pieces of the puzzle too.
And it's been considered before. It has been, the town has thought that it was useful to switch to the BRSU in the past.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, the feasibility study of it actually occurring, right, might be not even relevant after, right? So because like we can't have the article be like, would you like us to do a feasibility study on, right? Because we might be doing that whole entire supervisor union might not even exist,
Right.
right? So like, yeah, I mean, I think it's just I would believe that people want to be able to have that as a sending school,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know that for sure. We have never had a vote or like the town, I don't feel like the town's.
Well, we have had lots of discussions about this in the past, not this year, obviously. And all of our kids go there, or the majority of them. I don't know, you want to weigh in?
I'm just curious, is there any sort of idea, once these districts are established, is there a petition or appeal process if you're not happy with the district that you're put in? Has anything been
It
said?
depends what
it is,
they
yeah.
legislate, right? So under the current rules, yes, you can ask to choose to move, right? That's the whole. But if they end up with the governor's plan, it's 5 districts, maybe they'll change that and they won't have that ability. I don't, it's impossible to say. The example is they gave there was discussions around, what the heck was the issue I was reading about in the bill that they had? The rules, the class size minimum piece. They were talking about what the exceptions to class size minimums would be. And it was based on State Board of Ed rules. But the State Board of Ed hasn't written the rules because the law hasn't passed. So how do you know to support a bill with rules? They don't even know what they're going to be yet. And so like, it's that kind of logic. You don't know. You just don't know where.
Right. That's why I just want to be careful because I don't want to mislead people. And if this explodes and we've spent, thousands of dollars and we're over at the BRSU and then they redraw the lines and the BRSU doesn't exist anymore. And now there's no fund balance or there's, you know what I mean? Like I
guess my only 2 cents would be, I think that if this House Ed version passes and there is a commission set up and it's supposed to be based on like retired superintendents and business managers and people who are spread around the state who understand the topography and who goes where and what's the flow of kids to what direction, like how does it track to high schools and middle schools, and if that's how it plays out, I mean, it feels to me that you guys would be okay because they're going to research that. That would be part of.
Yeah, they're
Right.
doing the feasibility.
Right. That's the reason why the House is pushing for that angle rather than, and it was your senator, it was Bongartz, who's the head of it, who was pushing for this other one. And the House had basically said like, the legislature should not be drawing the lines. We're not the experts.
we're not quality. Yeah.
And I guess they must have eventually agreed, but yeah, so I think that's what they would be doing. They'd be doing that feasibility study for you. At that point, they're going to they have all the data. They know
Where our kids go to
towns of
school.
residents and they know where those student ID numbers go. Like it's all in
Yeah.
the state database. They know exactly where those kids are. They're going to see all but 3. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
They're going to see it and they're going to go, okay. At least that's my take on it, but
Yeah, I think that's a good take.
I don't have as much to lose as you guys do probably.
I mean, I think at this
So-
point, we might have close to as many elementary kids between Dover and Wardsboro as we do at the mountain school. We have a couple at Twin Valley that are high school aged.
But
and-
there's only 2 and that's because their mom works there, right? Okay.
Right, but in terms, I'm thinking elementary, I know that we keep gravitating towards like secondary school, but elementary wise, it seems like we do have more going in that direction than we have in past years.
In the direction of the.
Dover, Wardsboro,
Uh-huh.
rather than in past years, it's been like every
Right.
single elementary age student is at the mountain school. at
But I
one
wonder,
point.
where do they live? That'd be the question, like what side of?
Oh, this side of town, for
This
sure,
side of town,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I don't know.
And the other thing is I understand what you're trying to do and it's a good thing. Like I agree with what you're trying to do to get ahead of it. I want to be careful what we go to the town with. Because it just doesn't feel ripe to me yet. And so we can call another special meeting. We've had several in a year in the past. Remember when the waiting study was happening? And then we expanded the board that same year to 5. So we had 2 or 3 different special district meetings. We can do more than one. We can correct this problem, wait to find out more information, and then approach the town. Because there may be, once this shakes out, there may be something else that we want to do.
Yeah, that's fine. I was just trying to be proactive because we're already having a meeting, so it would be easier to have
Yes.
it on
Mhm.
2, and summers get busy. Like people are gonna be
Yeah.
here, there and everywhere, and so to inform everybody, but it is, I think.
I just want to
think
make sure
Bob's
that,
right, that we
it's-
don't know where this is going and we should probably just.
and
give
it's
it a
not that we
second.
can't discuss it. I'm just concerned about putting an article on there. We can talk about it because I agree with you with transparency. I'm just nervous to put an article on there because that seems like we're really trying to move something along, and telling people what our thoughts are or what we're afraid of or what is coming down the pike. I'm all for that.
Mhm.
I just don't necessarily want to see an article on there.
I agree, because I don't think we have enough information yet,
Yeah.
right? To tell people, educationally, like what could happen. There's too many bouncing balls and there's too much what if right now to give an informed.
And how many years? How
Right.
many years have we had this discussion and somebody has come to town and said there's going to be movement this year or next year? And what are we on, Kelly? 5 or 6 years now of them
Yeah.
saying the same thing and nothing. And I'm sure something will happen, but again, it doesn't seem to be the great bomb drop that,
That it could be.
So, but
Why don't-
we can.
Why don't we keep these two things separate then, just to keep it clear for everyone, and just table this for now and then,
As we gather more information.
yeah, exactly.
Information.
Yeah, I mean, we can. And again, like I said, I just don't want to have an article for it.
So at
you
this
know.
point, I just have the article to authorize you guys to withdraw the additional 238,000 and
Yeah.
then an article to transact any other business that may legally come before the board.
Oh my God, I forgot to ask my daughter if she took the lasagna.
Yes, and if we learn more information between now and then that can be the more information.
So that brings me to my next question. Ordinarily, your May meeting would
We
be
texted,
did
we
you?
have a date for you.
amazing.
Sorry that we're so on. School club. Nope, that's not the school club. We're the school board.
On the 13th, right?
You say the 13th?
I think is what we said.
Yeah,
6:15, right?
yeah.
And I was gonna warn this for the town hall or the town office. Doesn't matter. I don't think there's probably gonna
You
be
know
great
what?
turnout, but I don't know.
So, let me just make sure. Yeah, she took it out. Great. So here's the thing. Here's what I just want to ask because it pertains to that. If you want, when we send this out, just to alleviate the 700 phone calls that you, Candy, and Kent are about to get, I do have most people's addresses and I can send an email that says, hey, this is what this is. And just sort of alleviate that. So, because otherwise we can have it here, but if 20 people show up, that's going to be a push.
So maybe we just warn it for the town hall just in case. I have to post this on the website and 3 posting places by Sunday if you're gonna have it on May 13th.
Okay.
But we are gonna mail it next week, so my thought was to type up some sort of explanation to send along with it.
Great.
That will
That's a great
hopefully
plan.
Eliminate some of the phone calls,
Great.
but if I type that up, I would like to send
Have-
it to you maybe for.
And just have it
approval.
say, read this first
Yeah.
at the top.
So Tuesday, May 13th at 6:15 PM at the town hall, and I can print this and you all can sign it and I can post it.
Can you do it to the town office?
You want to have the meeting here?
Yeah, because I feel like nobody's going to show up.
Nobody's gonna show up anyway.
Once you do and it's hard, the internet's hard
No,
over
we have
there.
Internet now. We're moving up in the world. There's internet at the town hall. I know, it's a big deal.
Because the last time I was over there, it didn't.
No, it works,
Okay.
but your call.
All right.
Yeah, 'cause I think you're right.
as
That
there's
even if
internet
20
over there.
people showed up, we'd still be fine in that space, right?
Yeah. Here, you mean?
Yeah.
In the office, it's just easier. Yeah, I don't
Okay,
think,
so I'll do office.
yeah,
Okay, let me print this and you can sign it and I will get it.
Great.
posted.
and I'm not, like I said, I'm not opposed to talk, we can talk about it. I don't want an article for it. I think that'd be, because
Might be too confusing.
yeah, well, yeah.
We really don't have.
And
we
once
don't
it's
have
an
enough
article, it's
answers.
almost like a call to arms. Like, that's what I mean.
Right.
Like, what's the plan? Like the expectation at that point, if they want, now we've got to have a committee now, and we're just not there yet, but we can have the conversation. Like, this was what I wanted to have remember when all that stuff was happening with SMS years ago and the board didn't like talk about it and people showed up really angry and upset and that communication.
And they were kind of like, you know, they were kind of upset for no reason, really. Like, you know,
Right. Well,
Proofread
they just didn't know what they didn't know. And
right. Yeah.
we're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. We're like, there was no real fire.
I just like what Bob's wording was about whatever Wyndham did, like just talking to the townsfolk about possibility of the school board being able to do this if, you know, whatever it was, just like, I don't.
Explore it.
Yeah,
if
if we feel it's
legislators-
needed to explore this,
Yeah.
give us the permission to do it now so that we don't have to call y'all back. That was what I really
Mhm.
liked, like the sort of like.
So something like depending on what the legislature does, this
Right.
might be something we want to
Give
consider.
us the ability to
Permission
make
to
that,
explore this.
yeah. That's what I really thought was a good idea, but it's all fine. We can just see what they have to say and go from there.
Okay. Oh, you guys, we still have to do the training. The only one who did it so far was Kelly. I sent that email and then I sent a second one. I still haven't done it.
Hmm.
So we have to do that. It has to be done
What's the
before
training?
September 1st. It's the ethics training.
Thank
And it's
you.
on the,
I sent an email.
yeah, I got it.
I can resend it.
That would be-
Let me do that. Resend.
So many.
Yeah, 'cause
emails,
it's-
but just like,
It's unbelievable.
Quick clarifying question. You guys are gonna do the special meeting on May 13th. Are you still going to do your regular meeting on the
Yes.
6th? You would.
No,
we're gonna do
No.
it all on the 13th.
Yeah.
So the first Tuesday will not happen in May.
no. We
You'll
should
do
do
it
all
on the
that.
same-
Yeah, what did we decide? We have to open up
those
our
are-
regular meeting, open up the special district, like Kent knows.
Your normal monthly meeting.
To happen.
immediately
To follow
this.
the- yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's how you. do
resend
your
ethics.
special
Mhm.
meeting, Jen.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
So will there be a Zoom option for that too, or is that gonna be live?
Not for
only?
the district meeting, there can't be.
It can't, oh, because you have to vote in person.
Right, so there
Gotcha.
can't be
Alright.
a Zoom. I don't know that you have to be here.
But I didn't know for the regular meeting after, if you want me here for that, I'm happy to come up if you guys want me to
I don't
go.
know if there's any,
I mean, it's not this first one won't be very long, is my guess,
I
especially.
would hope it'd be less than, well, I don't know. I guess it depends how many people call ahead of time, but
Right.
yeah.
I don't think it.
You and I
will.
can talk before that. It's a
Y-
month
Yeah,
away. We can-
that's fine. And we said the 13th, and that's good. Switch this. So we also then have to do a warning or a thing so that, because we're moving our monthly meeting. Okay, so the 13th. Oh God, I hope I can do it. We didn't get the baseball schedule yet, so that makes things really tricky. Just for, logistic. Okay, this is the district meeting. All right. Okay. Oh, shoot. Hi. There anything else to come before the board?
No, I'd like to revisit the conversation that was brought up tonight at the next meeting now, and just kind of like, and think of, I do like. But whether we have to hold like a secondary thing for thinking about, you know. I don't know, I need a little time to kind of think
Well,
about it, but.
I'll also
like,
have something back hopefully from the AOE
Yeah,
before that
and
meeting
then,
too,
like,
so.
Even if it's just permission to begin research or something as stuff comes out. And we feel like we have to kind of like act to like be like, oh man, it didn't work in our favor.
Yeah, I don't even know that we need permission to research until it starts costing money.
Yeah.
We can do that, but
Cool.
I think to your point, it's more letting people know that this is what we're thinking about because we want to be proactive and not get caught behind and not be able to go. I mean, my daughter's like the perfect example. She'd be the one who wouldn't be able to go because she's gonna be in 9th grade in 2 years, and I don't, I wouldn't want that to happen. So I'm with you, but I just getting it out there to people so they're aware of what's
Yeah.
at risk is more than, because we're not asking for money yet. We're not asking for decisions. We're not asking for anything yet. So yeah, and I mean, you guys can bring it up if you want to at the meeting. It seems like the forum for it. I just don't, an article feels like there's action now, and we're not at a point of action. So you want to talk about it? Have at it. Is there nothing TV land?
No.
Nothing. Okay, then it is 7:16. If I can are you good, Allison, before
I'm good, yeah.
Okay, can I get a motion to adjourn, please?
And then we adjourn this meeting.
Thank you, Melissa. Do you need a second for that? To adjourn? I've never heard a second be asked.
Someone just walks out the door, you lost your quorum, so
Yeah,
pretty
boom.
much stuck there.
There you go, done.
Alright. Very good. All right, thank you. Let's see. Oh God, I hope I recorded this. Yes,
Yay.
I get that moment of panic every,
We have not signed up
Cancer.
for.
yes.